walks of life. The builders and pilots who do model airplanes love to share their stories of modeling challenges and accomplishments. Many of them discovered their love of model airplanes at an early age, and building and flying models has been an important part of their lives ever since.
When I was about 6 years old, I asked my father, "Dad, when you were little, what did you do for fun?" And he said, "Son, well, I built and flew model airplanes." And it was at that moment, I'll never forget it, this light went on. I said to my dad, "I want to do that." And he took me down to the hobby store and we bought a model airplane kit that he thought I could build.
I was kind of born into the hobby. My dad got my two brothers and myself started at a very early age, as his dad got him started in it. It always led to my wanting to do well in school because I had a goal. I always wanted to fly real airplanes.
Something very special happens to people at the moment they discover model airplanes. The spark of inspiration that lights when that first model actually flies seldom goes out. It burns even stronger when model airplanes are a shared family interest.
Well, we started flying when the boys were 10 years old. I had some models given to me, and I went out to try to learn how to fly it when they came along, and it wasn't too many times out before they had to have an airplane of their own.
The first plane I learned how to fly was a Sagita, and then I got more. The second plane I think I got interested to was Smiley, which I have here right now, and it's electric.
Fly over by us now. A little bit left, right, or green over. Nice try. Yeah, we ready. Okay, Maverick.
The reason why I like flying airplanes is because it kind of gets our family closer together, and it's like flying, but you're on the ground. And it's fun because I get to help my dad a lot, and we get to spend more time together.
I was out on the 4th of July weekend with my wife and kids, and we saw this full-scale PA-12 supercruiser, which was made by Piper Company in 1946. And my wife and I and kids fell in love with the color of it, and we got to watch it fly. And so I decided right there that I had to build a model of it. This is a 1/4 scale version of that full-scale airplane. I think one of the highlights of my day is having the chance to come home, have the kids come out in the shop with me and sand some balsa wood with me, and they're starting to learn how to glue things and even know some of the names of some of the airplanes now.
Hollywood film great Henry Fonda was a model airplane builder, and he shared his interest with his friend, actor Jimmy Stewart, and with his son, Peter.
And many times that they'd build these big gliders, bigger than I was, and just to let them go way up in the air and glide away out of sight. It was amazing. I learned from him what doing a complete and fine job was, not just doing something haphazardly. It was also a chance for him to be with his friend Jimmy Stewart, but you have to understand, I'd be there too. And these two great men of the theater would spend 3 or 4 hours together saying approximately 10 words. I've got 14B, my dad believed. That goes to G7. And then so you glue it together. So they make this big skeletal frame for a glider, and then they put the skin on it. And my dad did most of the work, but it was a way for him to practice being a father, because he did not know how to do it vocally. He did not know how to do it emotionally. And by saying I'm building this for Peter, I always thought this is great, because I know I'll never get to fly it. And so I'll get to see it fly, which is the thing.
Modeling has been a great, rewarding experience for myself and now my son, and I think it has brought us a little closer together. So many things that separate fathers and sons today. I think this modeling experience that I enjoyed as a youngster has come across to my son. I'm really pleased that Casey is involved with this and is enjoying it. Come to find out we have a lot more in common than we thought.
The skills and disciplines that are vital to model building and flying command respect everywhere. Many challenging and rewarding careers have become possible, all because of model airplanes.
Back in the 70s, my brother and I started flying competitive racing aircraft, and I think that provided me with quite a competitive drive, which I think in the long run has helped me to achieve my goal of becoming an airline pilot. I think modeling gave me the direction and the drive to get where I am today. In the left seat of a 737-400 airline for Alaska Airlines. I don't believe I ever would have gotten to this point if it wasn't for my background in model aviation.
I made my living as a model maker at Boeing for 35 years. It was wonderful to be able to work on things that were 15, 20 years into the future. I got to work on the lunar rover. I made the fiberglass fender, and I made all the bracketry that went on the lunar rover. I worked on space shuttle stuff. It was wonderful.
And when I was in high school, designed my own airplane. I didn't want to build something that was a kit or somebody else had designed, so I struck out on my own and designed my own. And some worked, some didn't. But in the process of doing that, the aviation bug bit me, and I decided that I wanted to do that for a living. I wanted to design airplanes for a living. I went to college in the local area and got an aerospace engineering degree. From there, I've worked at various aircraft manufacturers, but I work at Boeing now.
I enlisted in the Air Force as an aviation cadet. Ended up flying 52 missions as a B-24 pilot. After the war, I came home, completed college, went to work for NACA, the predecessor of NASA, and I'm one of the co-inventors of the Project Mercury space capsule. So all of this, I would say, came about because of my interest in model airplanes.
Since 1936, model airplane activities in the United States have been guided by an organization known as the Academy of Model Aeronautics. Originally founded to disseminate technical information and sanction competitions, today's AMA has also met the challenge of safeguarding the opportunity to fly model airplanes by creating, among other things, a relationship with the Federal Communications Commission that provides access to dedicated radio channels for model flight, and a liability insurance program that facilitates model flying on both public and private property. While offering these services, the AMA also continues to underwrite and promote educational programs based on model aviation. From its headquarters in Muncie, Indiana, which include a 1,000-acre-plus flying site and a world-class model aviation museum, the AMA actively encourages and supports participation in model airplane activities. A highly motivated professional staff is devoted to seeing that the rewards of this constructive, family-oriented activity are available to all who have an interest.
We want to excite the youth of today. We think about the youngster today that takes the model, builds it, goes outside expecting it to fall straight into the ground so he can take it over and put it in the trash can, and in fact it takes off and it flies. And if you can look at his eyes, you can look at his mouth as it drops open, the wonder that this thing really worked, he created it with his own hands, then you understand why aviation education is so important. This is our heritage, this is also our future.
Here at the Academy, one of our goals is to bring modeling to the forefront, make it recognizable to the general public. Our work many times focuses on how does a model club, a modeling group dovetail and become part of the community so that it really becomes a two-way street. The modelers are provided with a place to participate and enjoy their sport, share it with others, but the community also benefits from their being there.
Individual model builders all over the country have organized themselves into thousands of AMA-affiliated clubs. These clubs work actively within their local communities to create and maintain model airplane flying sites, providing places for the modelers to fly their airplanes, as well as opportunities for other community members to enjoy model airplane flying as a spectator activity.
We're part of a public park, and with the help of AMA, we've been able to have this field at our use for about 18 years now. And it is really great for the airplanes. We have quite a large club, 277 members, roughly, with a very large junior program. And so all of these people are AMA members, and the insurance that AMA provides is a requirement by the park department. And without that insurance, we probably wouldn't have been able to keep this facility.
As a recreational organization, we realize that there's an exposure out there that has to be dealt with, and we're happy to do that through our insurance program. Over the years, our record has been very good, and through that group policies that we have, we cover a multitude of people, not only the individual AMA member, but we also cover all the clubs as well as the site owners.
Radio-controlled models were first flown before World War II, when it was necessary to have an amateur radio license to operate them. Since that time, the AMA has continued to work with the Federal Communications Commission to ensure that radio frequencies are made available for use in recreational and educational model flying activities.
About 20 years ago, it became obvious that we would need a lot more frequencies to keep up with the expansion of the radio control activity. So the AMA went back to the FCC and worked very diligently to obtain a new spectrum of frequencies in the 72 megacycle band. We now have 50 frequencies which we can use for radio control model airplanes, and this has allowed the expansion of the hobby as we know it today.
Without the AMA's input, we would not have the facility we have here. We would not have the insurance program that is so absolutely necessary, and we would not have the leadership necessary that allows us to gather as modelers all over the country.
Most people today, when they think of model airplanes, usually envision radio-controlled models. While RC airplanes like this one are popular all over the world, there are other kinds of model airplanes that do not use radios at all. Free flight model airplanes have no control of any sort from the ground once they are released into the air. In the early days of airplane modeling, free flight was the only option available, as radio control and control line systems did not yet exist. Some free flight models are gliders. Some use tightly wound rubber strip to turn a propeller, and others use miniature engines similar to the